Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check this headline out. Bretton Woods 2 ends today. And you know what else? Plus that with David Schwartz dream scenario. And I think you get exactly why XRP was created in the first place. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter for the latest in what's going on in the crypto news. Ripple XRP. Right now, it's $880 billion market cap for crypto. We're off by 1.3%. Good morning, everybody. We're bleeding heavily right now. Bitcoin, 16,900 plus. Ethereum, 1,200 plus. And Tether market cap, 65.7 billion. We will keep that watch on alert until we understand exactly how the U.S. government, the U.S. Treasury, the OCC, OFAC, FSOC all feel about USD Tether selling the Federal Reserve digital version of their dollar. We'll see. 37 cents for XRP, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into this. If there was any greater time, any finer, more great time to show you glint pay, getting gold, physically allocated gold, I think this is the time you're going to be blown away with what we have laid out for you today. Look, I love them as a sponsor, but I was a customer first. I love getting real gold and being able to have access to use it every day. I want you to think about an economic reality that may be coming, some kind of a collapse, some kind of a real deep recession, or even a depression, God forbid, you know? And imagine if you have physical gold, which you can get this physical gold delivered to you, but imagine you got gold bars and then you're going to go to the bank or some pawn shop to try to hawk your gold for cash. What do you think they're going to give you for spot price? That's one of the reasons I love this. I can accumulate physical gold held in a Brinks vault, right? That Glint has no access to because it's physically allocated in my name. That's why I'm topping off my gold card this week. That's why I'm doing that. Click the link underneath the video. Right here, I am making a call to action. I'm asking all of you to do it. We've already had, close to 100 tweets here. Let's keep it going. Max Keiser was recently on Stansberry Research, and I was too. But you know what? I want to ask everybody to make a call to action to Daniela Camboni and Stansberry Research to talk and sit down with John Deaton so they can have certainly a meaningful conversation, which Max Keiser was not, and no fault to Daniela Cambone. She's amazing, and so is everybody over there. But sitting down with John Deaton, I think, would be a remarkable conversation, and it really needs to happen for a greater awareness to a much wider audience than we have already here in crypto. Let's all try to do that. And this right here was I heard a rumor from Charles Hoskinson saying that there's possible settlement in just 3 days from now. Take a quick listen here.
Or the other. Fourth, I would believe that then Ethereum and Bitcoin would also be securities, and they'd be in a bigger debacle. And this problem with regulations through enforcement, there's not much you can do. Just any given Sunday, it's whoever the regulator decides to pick, and then there's a big fight. $100 million is spent. It's brutal and vicious, and a lot of hard feelings. And sometimes people win, sometimes people don't. I've heard rumors that the Ripple case will be settled December 15th. And we'll just see. And that could have catastrophic implications for the industry.
Catastrophic implications for the industry. What is it he's been told about this settlement? Is it that XRP gets a pass after the early days of security, but now it's not? But that means that everybody behind them would certainly get hit with something? Is it just a rumor? Will there be no settlement at all? I certainly plan on this thing going the distance. I'm hanging my hat on what James K. Filan has told us, and shout out to Jim. I'm holding on to that just simply because it seems like the furthest out thing that I've heard as far as timeline wise, and everything I have witnessed in crypto or Ripple unfolding something has always been at the last minute, a phase-in plan. First it's this, then it's that, then it's this, then it's that. You know, I'm going to go with the legal analysts on this one. But at the same time, we don't know what's going to happen. My eyes are peeled. I wouldn't be upset as long as the settlement was favorable to us. Ripple has said that they wouldn't settle unless it was a favorable decision for XRP. We'll see. We shall see. How are you going to increase the value off the U.S. dollar if it's not in limited supply? Federal Reserve, U.S. Treasury, ask James Rule. You know, the money printing is such an issue. I firmly believe that we are moving to a paradigm shift. And I think I'm going to show you that exact evidence today. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, and just very quickly here, Bretton Woods is where we got the creation of the gold-backed dollar, right? That's where we got all of that. And then we had the coming off of that, I think it was back in 74, under Nixon, Henry Kissinger did the deal for the petrodollar. And that was to provide it the strength as a global currency after coming off of the gold standard, which was an agreement with OPEC and the surrounding nations in the Middle East to trade all oil in US dollars. Well, I can tell you that that has changed today. That's over. That agreement is no longer in standing the way that it was. And you will see irrefutable evidence of that today. And what I'm asking today is could that play into the dream scenario that David Schwartz has talked about before? Because I certainly believe that a moment like what we're witnessing, the end of Bretton Woods, could absolutely become that black swan catalyst that could introduce XRP to the world. I don't believe that they ever created XRP without knowing a moment like we're moving into was coming. Take a listen to this, who is Barry Eichengreen. And if you've been around the channel, I've played this before. But the way I'm going to roll out the next several pieces of information here, we all need to watch extremely closely here, because it is very powerful what was being said by the IMF 2 years ago about the dollar dominance and the effect of the Triffin dilemma, which is the stress on a national currency that serves as a global reserve currency. Now, let me just, for the sake of time, move this ahead just a little bit here, and it'll jump in.
Policy works even more heavily by moving the exchange rate because it can't move the interest rate. And if it really is the case that you get less stimulus to exports and less oomph from monetary policy generally, I think it's incumbent on all of us to think about what to do instead. So is this project an argument for fiscal policy? That's depressing, because fiscal policy is heavily politicized. Fiscal policy works with even longer lags typically than monetary policy. What do we need to do in terms of reforming our fiscal institutions if we're going to have to rely on them more heavily? And the second part of the question would be, what do we have to do to get out of this position of dollar dominance? Because it has the undesirable effect of weakening monetary policy, and it will run up sooner or later against the 21st century Triffin dilemma problem.
Now, see that? Now, the kids on Twitter will tell us we're conspiracy theorists for having this conversation. But they don't have a damn thing to say when the IMF is having that conversation, preparing for a moment that is now upon us just 2 years later. Don't listen to the children out there. Here's an argument from Peter Schiff and Nigel Farage, who's going to tell you about what they see coming with crypto and gold, which I have mentioned many times about the backing of digital fiat currencies to go back on the gold standard to reinsure this new monetary paradigm shift that we're making in the world of money and finance and payments, to bring a confidence to this new system.
Are we going to see a crypto rally next year? Nigel, yes or no?
By the end of the year, crypto will be higher than it is now.
Okay, Peter, yes or no,
Well,
a crypto rally?
I think there will be rallies and there will be declines. I think it's going to be lower lows and lower highs. I think a year from now, Bitcoin and just about every other token will be quite a bit lower than they are right now. But I don't think that crypto is going away. I think the future of crypto is gold. I think that the world is going to be looking for a alternative to fiat money, especially as the inflation rates accelerate. And the real beauty of blockchain and the internet is that it makes it so much more efficient to use gold, not only as a store of value, but as a medium of exchange and as a unit of account. And I just got back from Dubai, and there are a lot of companies coming out with projects with Goldback Crypto, where you have all the benefits of Bitcoin, where you have the divisibility, the portability, the fungibility, where people can opt out of a fiat system and adopt a gold standard, but not have to lug around bars of gold. You can keep your gold on your cell phone, and I can buy a car with my gold, or I can buy a cup of coffee or a pack of chewing gum. It doesn't matter, because you could break your gold up into little tiny increments, and you can instantaneously and very low cost transact. It's way cheaper than cryptocurrencies. It's a lot cheaper than a Visa or MasterCard or any of these other payment rails. So there is a future for blockchain and crypto, but unfortunately, it's not going to involve Bitcoin.
Well, listen, we can have a conversation about Bitcoin another day. For today, I want to say this, and shout out to capital.com for that piece, and shout out to Rod for sending it to me. But what I wanted to highlight out of that particular portion of the conversation there is that I'm already doing that with Glint. And I do believe that gold is going to play a role in shoring up the new financial system, which was hinted to by Barry Eichengreen to be a multipolar, multi-asset backed system because of the problem of the Triffin dilemma with the US dollar. Is the IMF conspiracy theorist too? Is Nigel Farage bullish on crypto because he understands that the UK is going to be a crypto hub? You're damn right he is. I think he also knows that the EU is going to tighten regulations on cryptocurrency as well. He understands greatly where this world is going. Now, Peter Schiff is obviously talking his book, but he's right about the fact that gold can be spent right now, and it doesn't even need to be tokenized. It's happening. Glint's done it. But you're going to see, I believe, gold reintroduced to back this new system of the fiat dollars. Then you could use XRP as a bridge. XRP does not need to be pegged to gold solely alone. It could be pegged to, and actually it would be better that more assets of all kind of value would be staked and collateralized on the ledger. That would be the best thing. This here is an old clip that is Christine Lagarde at her time at the IMF saying that Bitcoin is not what we're talking about here when she was the managing director, now the president of the ECB. Very quickly, listen to this.
Enables all the banks in the Eurozone to actually transfer instantly at virtually no cost money between them. So I think that the role of the disruptors and anything that is using distributed ledger technology, whether you call it crypto assets, currencies or whatever, and it's far from the bitcoins that we used to talk about a year ago, that is clearly shaking the system.
It's clearly shaking the system and is far from the bitcoins. Now we know, speculatively, Ripple is working with inside the system. We've even heard Christine Lagarde mention Ripple and Circle as companies of note that are working in a positive way to disrupt the financial system from within. Then there was this recent clip of Christine Lagarde again, but as her time as the ECB president, and talking about on-demand liquidity crisis. She talked about systemic risk. It's real. Now, I'm not going to play the whole clip here because it says the ship that she's in. She hasn't really changed. She knows something is coming. Shout out to Riz. He believes London is already ready because they said they're going to be a crypto hub. Well, somebody better be ready because BRICS isn't just working to develop its own financial infrastructure. They've done it. And let me tell you what else they've done. They've signed on paper, ladies and gentlemen. We are witnessing the greatest financial paradigm shift in the history of mankind. Don't believe it, it's still true. Bretton Woods 2 ended today on December 9th. China formally invited the Arab nations to trade oil and gas in yuan on the Shanghai exchange. Now, the way diplomacy works is that President Xi would not have made the invitation unless all Arab states gathered in Riyadh, and particularly Saudi Arabia as host, which means they have already agreed as a matter of joint policy to take action accordingly. Oil and gas will price in Shanghai and in the Chinese yuan, breaking the dollar monopoly the U.S. has imposed and enforced since 1974. Again, the petrodollar agreement was to ensure the dollar as a global reserve currency after dropping the gold standard. This is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Could this, in fact, lead us to that dream scenario that David Schwartz has talked about, just like in this interview about a month or so ago with Anthony Welfare from Ripple as well? Take a listen to this clip here. Okay, so now I want to go up to the next clip here where they talk about the pressure, and it's really like a dream scenario that David Schwartz discusses here, and it's something that we've talked about plenty on this channel, is when you have a bad actor, a country that like China or Russia that really controls their people, you know, pushing for this kind of move to be a leader in this space. And could that incentivize the larger countries like the United States to act on this technology, where at the moment they're reluctant to move into it and want to watch the smaller countries adopt it so they can learn the lessons through the smaller countries that adopt this technology and figure out what's best for them? Do they have the time or don't they have the time? Let's take a listen to this clip right here. Let me line it up.
Like a threat to dollar dominance, for example. Like if there was some credible threat to dollar dominance, like that, like I know it's kind of a fantasy here, but like if there was some other country, you know, let's say a large country like, you know, China or Russia that like implemented some system that was some sort of threat to dollar dominance, then you could see the United States responding. You know, if they thought that a technological solution was the best solution, they probably, you would see a priority that you wouldn't see under any other scenario, despite their natural conservatism.
Yeah. Is that a fact, David? I firmly believe, and I've said it many times, XRP was not created to be released to the world when it was 65 and sunny. XRP, I believe, was created for a moment like we have just witnessed, ladies and gentlemen. The end of Bretton Woods 2. And I believe, just as we saw when the U.S. dollar came off the gold standard, it moved to the petrodollar to shore it up. The next way to shore up the dollar is to, one, insulate it from the spillover shocks of the rest of the world, because it will be sitting beside something else. And then to introduce a bridge currency and the ledger itself to the world. Let's not forget, well, let's look beyond just XRP the token. XRPLedger is a decentralized exchange for all the money. And that utility and liquidity, I believe, will be the next way you shore up the value, confidence, and security for the United States. Because Ripple, whether you like it or not, is still a U.S. company. Now, I know the XRP ledger is decentralized. I get it. But you can regulate it, and then you basically puppet master the activities on it, because it is open and permissionless. But I believe that utility and liquidity becomes the next path in order to create the kind of confidence and security, and then moving to gold to back up the digital dollars of the world. And you really got something to talk about for a new multipolar asset-backed system that the IMF has been talking about for a couple years. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Check out all the links underneath the video. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch all of you on the next one.